Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today our group will present about Zakat and taxation, which is collection and distribution. My name is Saniha binti Zulkifli. I will introduce about this study. Zakat is one of the pillars in Islam where it is a mandatory 2.5% on the wealth of wealth to other Muslims as already mentioned in Quran and Sunnah. Meanwhile, taxation is considered as a contribution levied on the person, property, or business for the support government. In Malaysia, the law government income taxation is the Income Tax Act 1967. Both zakat and taxation play an important role, especially toward the development of social economy in Malaysia. In most countries, zakat institutions do not have a formal structure and a good distribution procedure to collect the zakat money. However, Malaysia has become a country which has built a system of collection and redistribution of zakat based in their respective state, where individual or group establish zakat institutions that are not exclusive to other organizations. For the problem statement, how the management of zakat center in each state conduct zakat distribution and collection. Also to determine whether the implementation is carried out transparently and fairly by the authorities or it is merely carrying out the task. Therefore, we want to know the perception of Muslims in Malaysia about the collection and distribution of zakat and how the process. Apart of that, we also want to know that current practice of zakat and taxation in Malaysia. Next, for the research methodology, based on this study, we use internet resources to obtain information about these studies. Then obtain information about these studies. References from these internet sources can help us to obtain more extensive and up-to-date information on the scope of the studies. This is because all of the information can be obtained through the internet without limit and cost time.
My name is Nurul Aisyah binti Ahmad Mohtar, and I will present the perception of Muslim about zakat collection and distribution in Malaysia. So, according to Muslim community in Sarawak, they still have a negative perception that still exists towards Tabung Baitul Mal Sarawak, even though they have rank of trust and responsibility in distributing zakat according to the jurisdiction that has been outlined in the state enactment. However, in Sarawak, they are still more trusting of negative information through negative viral on the collection of a zakat without researching the validity and the accuracy of information material on social media. The thing that is seen as a challenge for Tabung Baitul Mal Sarawak nowadays is the spread of an authentic negative news from electronic media, especially smartphone and the internet. It will be challenged also to Tabung Baitul Mal Sarawak to repel all form of negative information more quickly and expeditiously through the media that same is accepted by society nowadays. And among the frequent negative comments that plaguing the Muslim population in Bintulu is slow to process the application. So because of the negative perception, majority of them unwilling to pay zakat because of dissatisfied with the distribution service by the Tabung Baitul Mal Sarawak. It is clearly due to this group not receiving complete information and the distribution on zakat, thus leading to a negative perception, then causing this group to act unwilling to pay zakat or then pay zakat directly to the asnaf. Therefore, Tabung Baitul Mal Sarawak needs to actively promote all information related to the movement to make them work more orderly, more efficient, and to open the eyes of the entire community Islam, even to non-Muslim, so that it become an attraction to the beauty of Islamic law. Inside that, advertising medium to promote the dissemination of information through advertising method such as internet network, for example, television, radio, and social media official websites, and popular social sites such as Facebook and Instagram. This accurate information has a positive effect on everyone who pays and receives zakat money. So as a result of this method, the Muslim community will be more understanding and less easily influenced by the negative viral that is quite active on social media by irresponsible group. Apart from promotion through social media, Tabung Baitul Mal Sarawak is proposed to conduct an initiative by providing a clear explanation to zakat money application on how the distribution of zakat money is managed by this Tabung Baitul Mal Sarawak. Next, there are some perception of Muslim who think that the distribution of zakat is only to help the asnaf of the poor and needy, and it should not be distributed to other needs of the asnaf fisabilillah, which can be assisted by the government or its agency. For example, the payment of kafar teacher allowance, most committee member allowance, construction or repair of religious institutions such as religious school. Based on their perception, there is among them make their own zakat payment to the poor or needy asnaf without thinking that the distribution they make only involve 2 asnaf out of 8 asnaf. The culture of distributing zakat by the payer to the asnaf, whether poor or needy asnaf, fisabilillah, and so on, without going through the zakat institution, can cause an overlap in the receipt of assistance. The pure intention of zakat payers by individual or companies to help those in need is a noble practice and should be common. The desire to distribute zakat following the zakat payers which feel the satisfaction of the distribution of their own zakat and for the company as fulfilling its social responsibility. However, such efforts are better implemented jointly with the zakat institution to avoid duplication of the same recipients receive assistance. Ensure that the recipients are included in the definition of asnaf, coordinate the recipients, and increase community confidence in the function and responsibilities of the zakat institution. There are zakat payers who do not understand the definition of asnaf and do not refer to zakat institution or ma'in. They have distributed zakat too often. To address the perception, several zakat institutions in Ma'in have offered zakat redistribution scheme to zakat payers based on a determined rate and discussed with the recipient of assistance who wish to be channeled. Other than that, the perception of Muslim about zakat collection and distribution in Malaysia is the existence of poverty eradication or to reduce poverty rates. Some people are not confident with the distribution of zakat done by zakat institution, especially in the context of poverty eradication. On the part of the zakat institution itself, especially Lembaga Zakat Selangor, various assistance has been channeled to ensure that poor asnaf receive proper protection such as financial assistance, or monthly food, education assistance, housing assistance, and even asnaf economic activities have been done to ensure socio-economic improvement among asnaf. There are poverty eradication programs implemented by government agencies that have success in achieve their goal, such as FELDA, FELCRA, and others, and some of that have not achieved their goals due to various problems and challenges faced by related agencies, either in terms of the problem of the target groups or the effectiveness of the program. Similarly, faced by Lembaga Zakat Selangor in implementing the distribution of zakat, there are various problems and challenges that needs to be faced, especially in implementing poverty eradication program that aim to ensure that every poor and needy asnaf is independent and strive to get out of the curtain of poverty.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Amir Sajidin Officer. Next, I will present about analysis the process of zakat collection and distribution in Malaysia. Firstly, I will explain about the process of zakat collection in Malaysia. In every state in Malaysia, there is zakat collection center, and this institution in each state must follow the state religious council either in collection or distribution of zakat. This institution has provided a clear guide, and they also have consultants that will support zakat payers to calculate their zakat that related to their tax. Next, it is different from taxation where the tax is compulsory for all people and there is no exception. Although zakat is practiced, the system of tax deductible, it cannot be guaranteed that all of Muslims will pay it. Lastly, taxation is compulsory for everyone according to law, but not as zakat, even though it could be used by the government to force people to pay a zakat, it is not an issue. Zakat is based on faith and make the religious commitment the only power that incentive payment of zakat not only in Malaysia but all around the world. Next, we move to the analysis the process of zakat distribution in Malaysia. Firstly, the collection of zakat in Malaysia show the good improvement, but the issue of zakat distribution is still raised lots of debate and problems. The problem of method distribution zakat in Malaysia to the eligible asnaf or not, problem poverty that still occurs even though the distribution of zakat has been implemented, has crippled the performance and achievement of zakat institution itself. Secondly, some researchers has begun to recommend the institution of zakat should be openly evaluated by the public. According to this statement, if most of zakat payers feel dissatisfied with the management of zakat by the zakat institution, it will bring them to pay the zakat directly to the asnaf group. Thirdly, directly zakat payment to asnaf will cause the several problems such as leakage of zakat collection, and the distribution of zakat is not equal between asnaf will occur if the zakat payer directly pay the zakat for asnaf, especially for the poor and needy group. Zakat payer should be confined by the zakat institution so that they pay the zakat through the institution and not directly into asnaf.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Ashikin binti Cik Mat, metric number 2019294694. So I will continue for the next slide, which is current practice of zakat and tax in Malaysia. In zakat, the federal constitution has listed zakat under the state jurisdiction. All states in Malaysia have provided for matters relating to zakat. Matters either under the acts or enactment in their respective states or placed under a specific enactment on zakat. The acts or enactment provides the power to the State Islamic Religious Council, which is MAIN, or the company that appoints to collect zakat. The collected zakat from property owners, and every person who violates the act or enactment can be punished. In Section 16B of the Sharia Criminal Offences, Federal Territories 1997, Act 559 explicitly provide the power to the Majlis or its representative to collect zakat. Collection of zakat in Malaysia using a concept of wakalah, which is the party that assigned to collect zakat considered a representative of muzaki. The muzaki will receive and manage the distribution of zakat on his behalf. Their holding on the zakat fund is considered a valid holding before it handed over to those who are entitled to receive the zakat. The first current practice of zakat in Malaysia is paying of zakat to the parties such as charitable organisations, NGOs and other similar organisations. According to Sheikh Ibn Usaimin, those who are from charitable organisations are also included in the permission to pay zakat to them, if that organisation get permission from government to do so. If the payer pays zakat through this organisation, then it is considered to have missed the responsibility of zakat from him. This is current practice that is happening in our country, including among some of the country's leading Islamic banks set up a special department to manage the distribution of zakat is seen as a positive development. However, the parties of this organisation do not have the power to officially force zakat to be paid or zakat to be managed through them. They are only considered a representative of the government in terms of management but not enforcement. Second current practice is the payment of zakat to relative or family member. According to Sheikh Abdul Aziz bin Baz rahimahullah, zakat cannot be paid or intended to be given to the following groups of family members. First, a group consists of father, mother, grandfather, grandmother and above, whether male or females, as in the category of faraid. Second group consists of sons or daughters, grandsons or granddaughters, and below as in the category of faraid. The third group is husband of wife. These people cannot be given a gift with the intention of paying property zakat because they are in the category of obligatory maintenance, which is people who receive nafkah. Therefore, if zakat is intended, then the zakat is void because what is obligatory for them is nafkah and not zakat. Not zakat, even though they are included in the category of asnaf who are entitled to receive zakat. But if the asnaf consists of the siblings, which is father siblings, which is uncles, aunties, cousins, brother-in-law, from a wife to her husband, then they can receive zakat from us because it is not from category of nafkah. Current practice of tax in Malaysia. Tax in Malaysia is payment by the government to people according to a certain rate, looking at aspect of needs and benefits that will be implemented by the national administration to meet the general needs of the people in a country and to realize part of the planning and the structuring of economic, social, political and administrative and other purpose for the public good that are the agenda of a country. According to official portal Inland Revenue Board, which is IRB, the following below are the tax according to their respective categories of direct tax. First is individual income tax. Individual income tax is levied on individuals who are eligible for taxation. Those who are taxable are individuals with an annual employment income of Rm 34,000 per year after EPF deduction, or employees who have been automatically subject to scheduled tax deduction (STD). For those who are imposed to STD must fill the e-filing. E-filing is a platform where individuals register for their income tax files. So in e-filing, we can fill and send the income tax return form or BNCP. Individuals who get tax relief are individuals who have families, individuals who are married, individuals who are studying, and many more, 22 of categories of tax relief for individuals that can be checked on the IRB website. In individual income tax rate, if a person has a high income, then indirectly the tax imposed is also high. Then the opposite, if a person has a have a low income, then indirectly the tax imposed is also low. The company tax from the year of assessment to 2015, companies, limited liability partnerships, trust bodies, and cooperatives that are dormant or have not yet carried on business must submit an income tax return form, including Form E. The company must return the complete ITRF without the need to attach supporting documents to the address of LHDN within 7 months after the closing date of the accounting period. Submit tax estimate installment payments according to the period and calculate income tax. Then reporting income and expenses, including deduction and rebates. Also, the company should keep business records for auditing purpose. For existing companies, the estimated tax payable must be paid in equal monthly installments starting from the second month of the base period for 1 year of assessment. For a newly operating company, the installment payments start in the 6th month in the base period of a year of assessment. For example, it is paid in the 6th month of the company starts the business. The company must pay the estimated tax installment not late than the 15th day of each month, while the payment of the balance of tax, that is the actual tax after deduction, the installment payment, if any, must be paid not late than the last day of 7 months of the closing date of the account. The Real Property Gains Tax (RPGT) is administered by the IRB through the Real Property Gains Tax Act 1976, replacing the Land Speculation Tax Act 1974. Both acts were introduced to curb property speculation activities. RPGT is levied on taxable profits from the disposal of taxable assets such as house, commercial buildings, farms, and vacant land. The rate calculation of the acquisition price of an asset is the amount or value of consideration in money paid or given to acquire the asset, including incidental in cost of acquisition minus any payment received as compensation for any damage or injury to the asset. Any payment received under an insurance policy lost as a deposit made in connection with the transfer of asset, while the disposal price is the amount of money or the value of a consideration obtained from the disposal of any asset minus cost of experiences uh, incurred in increasing or adding value to an asset. Costs or expenses incurred at any time after the acquisition of the asset by the purchaser to determine, maintain or defend his right over the asset in question, and costs incurred by the seller in selling the asset. To balance the country's income which has been lost since the COVID-19 pandemic in 2019 and 2021, the government has announced several important tax-related matters that can be highlighted in Budget 2022. Among them is the government imposing a makmur tax on companies that made big profits during the COVID-19 pandemic in Malaysia. Next is any Malaysia who has reached the age of 18 and above does not need to register for income tax. Instead, they will continue to get a tax identification number, which is TIN, starting in 2022, with the hope of more tax collection on Malaysian after that. Meanwhile, individuals who wish to enter government tender who wish to enter government tenders and procurement of government supply must obtain the Inland Revenue Board tax compliance certification from the IRB starting 1 January 2023. The government also imposed income tax on those who live and reside in Malaysia but receive salaries and income from foreign sources to enable increase the tax collection.
For the conclusion, on the process of collection and distribution of zakat in Malaysia, most zakat institutions in other countries do not have a formal structure and can be said lack an advanced distribution mechanism for zakat money accumulate. If a person pays zakat to the ruler through the Baitul Mal, Amil, and those who are authorities to collect zakat, then he has a perfect both of these aspects. Next, about tax, the fall in the number of decisions was due to declining corporate and individual income aspect as the implementation of tax exemption on a regular basis, while by the government to case the burden of cash flow to support business. That's all from us. Thank you.